Hello and welcome to a 10 Minute Takes Retro Review. Here on the Retro Reviews, we are going to review movies that either we've seen before or that are much beloved films from the past. So today's film is The Exorcist. Sam has never seen it before. I, the film buff, have of course seen this multiple times before. It's been a long time, but it is October, so what better month than to rewatch The Exorcist? Our retro reviews would be rated upon either as a love it, liked it, it's okay, didn't like it. It's The Exorcist. Let's just get it over with. 3, 2, 1.
Loved it.
Of course. So, let's get into it.
You're so excited.
So, The Exorcist. If you're here, you've probably seen the film. If you haven't, let us tell you about it. So, The Exorcist. What is The Exorcist? The Exorcist is a story of a young girl.
Exodus.
It's the story of a young girl who is the daughter of a divorcee. Her mom is an actress, and through some turn of events, the young girl becomes possessed by a demon. Now, what makes this film different from other horror films, and why some people might not like this film, is that The Exorcist is a slow burn of a horror film. It is not punch you in the face scary like you might see in a lot of other horror films. It is not something you'd see The Conjuring, Annabelle. It's not A Nightmare on Elm Street.
I feel like you also have to think about the time that this movie was actually made. Because I think for its time, it had to have been scary.
Oh, there's a documentary. Now, if you want to see the documentary, I'll link it in the comments in the description below. There's a 30-minute documentary, chronicling this film's release, and it is amazing. If you haven't seen it, click the link below. It's there. I've watched it multiple times. It's super good. It's a fun watch because you see people's reactions, like when they're getting out of the theaters, and just the mayhem that surrounded this film when it was released. I think it's like part of the experience of The Exorcist and like what makes it so special. You have to really get a feel for like that old time when people are actually watching it. And so I highly recommend the link below. Watch that. But anyways, back to the story. The thing that makes this different from other horror films, like I was saying, is that it's a real slow burn. But it's a very good slow burn. For me, it's not a boring slow burn. It's a very interesting slow burn. So the film starts with a priest who's digging up tombs in Iraq, I believe is what it is. And then he uncovers a tomb of what looks like some sort of demon that looks like, or some sort of like demon entity that might have been buried. And he pulls up this, it's not a statue. It's just like a little thing he pulls out of the ground. It looks like a demon head. And then he starts...
It looks like he broke it. Like, it looked like it was a statue, and then he chipped it off, and then it's just the demon head.
Yeah. And that's... I'm not sure. You could theorize that he released the demon that possesses their little girl at that point. But then after, I'd say probably we follow him around for like 5 or 6 minutes, and then we go to the actress mom and her daughter, and then we follow them for the rest of the story. And like it starts out with the mom hearing what she thinks is rats in the attic. I don't know what kind of rats she's used to, but those are some big ass rats.
Well, she thought they were rats.
Yeah, but
right.
like,
if they were rats. I mean,
what
else do you think?
Wolves in her attic.
What else do you think would be in your attic? Well, I guess maybe some like larger.
But anyway,
animals.
she thinks she has
That's
rats,
true.
And then eventually, those sounds go away, and then her daughter starts acting super weird. And then when her daughter starts acting super weird, we get into a point of the film where there's no consideration that this could be a possession of any kind.
Yeah.
What we get into is that she takes her daughter to a doctor. And this is the part of the film that I actually really, really like and really, really appreciate, because they try to fix the daughter through medical means. And it's just like they have just scene after scene after scene of them doing experiments on the daughter to try and cure her brain. She thinks she has some sort of cyst or aneurysm, something on her brain that's making her act funky and act out like that. And all of these things that the doctors are doing, they're all failing. Nothing's working. And we've spent a good amount of time. There's probably like a good 50 minutes of them experimenting on her to try and fix her. And every time they do something, it just gets worse.
I actually thought it was very clever. I thought it was super clever. It was a first-rate film that kept me interested the entire time. I was very surprised on how interested I was in this film. And it really, the science behind it, them trying to discover what was wrong with her daughter, it's not like the movies today. Like movies today, you watch a horror movie and it's automatically demonic, automatically possession, and you don't see the first step that people take because people don't automatically think, people in the films don't automatically think that they're possession. They had to gradually get to that point. So it was really nice to see that progress that she made trying to help her daughter. And ultimately at the end, the scientists were the one that was like, you need to look for a priest because this isn't something that we can help you with. This is something that a priest has to help with. And even the priests were resistant because they were like, well, we haven't done anything since the 16th century. So what are we going to be able to do? And they have to do their own investigation because that's a little more realistic than just priests left and right being able to do exorcisms.
Yeah. What, like that point that you bring up is what I really, really liked about the film is that even when they bring up doing an exorcist to the priests are like, that stuff doesn't exist. Like,
Right.
That's not real. Possession's not a real thing. People don't get possessed by demons. Like, your daughter probably has a psychological problem, so you should go to a doctor to
Right.
get help. And the mom's like, I've been to every doctor in the world. You effers won't help me. They send me to you. You're sending me to them. Someone do something for my daughter. Because they're just sending her in circles in this film. And
Right.
one of the things that I actually really appreciate... One of the things I actually really appreciate was that...
We should do that battle, like as a thing.
Stop it.
Sorry, it's just like... Pew, pew, pew.
All right, one of the things I really liked was that this, first and foremost, is a family drama. Then it's a horror film. It's a drama about a mother going to any length she can to help her daughter. And then, like, everyone she goes to is like, just nothing ever works. And the mother just eventually just gets beaten down to the point where she feels like she's worthless. To when finally, at some point towards the end of the film, someone gives in to the priests. And then they finally agree to do the exorcism on the daughter after they themselves do some investigating into her. And even after they do the investigations, they're like, we still don't know if we believe that she's possessed.
Right.
Even after they hear her speaking like multiple languages, so like, we don't know if that's real. Maybe she's just like making stuff up.
Well, also, I don't think it was a different language. I think she was just talking backwards.
Yeah, that's what they brought it to like a language expert. He's like, oh, that's not Latin or anything. That's English backwards.
But still, to me, how can this elementary child girl know? Like, he was kind of like, oh, that's totally normal. He didn't have any big reaction to it. So I was like, how can you not say that's a demonic presence if she's talking backwards in English? It's just at that time in the movie, you were like, what are you saying?
But I think that's the point in the movie when they finally started taking it seriously. Like, if she can talk backwards, maybe we should start taking this seriously as in...
Yeah, but he wasn't about it at first.
Was an exorcism. But it takes a while to get there.
Yeah, it does.
The other thing that I really liked about this movie is that... I just have this feeling when I watch this film, I almost feel like I'm watching like the horror version of like Rocky. Where like the original Rocky film from like 1978, 1979, it's a drama about a man who's down on his luck. It's not a sports film. It's a drama about a dude that has no other options, and then he takes up this boxing match to try and make something of himself. And it's a drama first and foremost. And I feel like the exorcism is kind of like it's like that of the horror genre.
Yeah.
And I think part of the other thing is that one, cinematography wise, like it looks like kind of like Rocky, like it's shot kind of like that, like gritty and in your face. And like the actor that plays the priest even reminds me of Sylvester Stallone a little bit, which I think is the other thing. He even plays a boxer. He's even a boxer.
He does. He's got that like buff 70s
He's got
look.
like that high cheeks, dark hair. Even kind of looks like Sylvester Stallone a little bit. But I feel like that. I mean, it's just more things that there's just more points added to in the film's favor that like, if you're someone that hasn't seen The Exorcist, but someone's like, yeah, I feel like Rocky is I can't even call Rocky a sports film because there's one boxing match at the end of the film. Everything else is leading up to the boxing match.
And
The
it's
Exorcist,
amazing.
And The Exorcist is the same thing. It's not really a horror film.
It's like walking up the stairs, and then it's the climb, and then you get to the top, and then just like everything hits the fan, and it's amazing.
So like the boxing match with Apollo and Creed in Rocky is the exorcism in The Exorcist.
Right.
It's a similar trajectory. You're following two sets of characters kind of like in a similar path. And they both head up to the final act. They have like the big thing that you came to the movie for.
Right.
And both of them build up to it expertly, which is why they're both Oscar-nominated films. Some of these characters feel more real back then in the 70s than some characters that we get in horror films today. the mom felt like
Yeah.
it felt like real reactions from.
I think that's what I'm starting to appreciate more as I'm getting, into watching films a bit more and being a little more analytical, is that I'm starting to appreciate older movies, like even back to like 50 movies, like movies in the 50s and 40s. I'm really starting to appreciate the acting skills from back then, like her feelings, the mom, when her pain that she was feeling when she couldn't figure out what was wrong with her daughter, and she was doing everything she possibly could, just gets you like a punch in the gut. It's just, it was quite frankly amazing how much I got invested in those characters.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah, truly across the board, just A+, everything that this movie does. The other thing I want to talk about is the makeup effects that they have. So, like, as the daughter is deteriorating through as she's deteriorating through the possession, her skin just looks worse and worse. Her skin's, like, peeling away. So when finally she's, like, fully possessed and she's got that yellow eyes. These makeup effects look more realistic. In 1970, I believe 1973 is when this film came out, than we get in today's films. That's one of the other reasons this film holds up to today, because it not only feels real, nothing about this feels hokey. When she's possessed by the demon at the end of the film, like, she really looks like she's possessed. It just feels, that's another thing that makes this film timeless. When films use practical effects to such a high degree, your films then become borderline ageless. And that's one of the things that The Exorcist does.
And I think with the digital world, everything's digital, and it's nice to be able to appreciate a film that's not digital.
Yeah.
So watching this movie and seeing everything almost as if you were in the room, it was spectacular.
Yeah. So I just want to close this out with favorite scenes from the movie. So Sam, what was your favorite scene or favorite moment?
I think one of my top favorite moments was when she's levitated off of the bed and they're trying to get the possession out of him.
Yeah.
Out of her. I thought that was really great. And there was one moment that I really, really, for some reason, resonated really well with me, and I thought it was done so nicely, was when she was talking in his mother's voice and the reaction that the priest felt when he heard that voice.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
He was just like, he couldn't do it. It was too much emotions for him, and he had to step out of the room. Those are my two top moments.
My favorite moment in the film is, it's going to be more offbeat than some people's, but my favorite moment is when the doctors actually go to her and say, maybe you should look into getting an exorcist. Because that's the moment where the doctors finally give up. That's when they lose their fight, and doctors don't like losing their fights. And it's the moment when it's like finally the film like comes to a head. You're kind of like thinking at this point, like, well, is this ever going to get to the exorcism? But at that moment when they go, maybe you should look into getting an exorcist. And then their reasoning is because that the mind has made up this that has been possessed, and if the mind believes it's being exorcised, it might heal what's the ailment that's bothering her daughter. And then when she goes to the priests are like, we don't do that anymore. And then you realize just how archaic and how desperate the situation has gotten. And that's like when you've got like your peak tension. It's like, oh man, this is getting really bad. And that's my favorite moment, because that's the moment like when the film just clicks. And that's when like the horrors of everything that's happening, like it's just kind of like crashing down on this mom. That's when she hits her lowest point.
Yeah.
And it really is like it's quietly magnetic for me.
Yeah.
And I loved it. So
great.
Those are our final thoughts. This was our retro take on The Exorcist. Would like to do more of these. A little difficult with time, but hopefully we'll get a few more.
We'll do what we can.
So,
we can
anyways,
only try our best.
Thank you for watching this take. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see more. And as always, we will see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys.